The study helper uses music as a bridge between academic content and student success.
Hi, this is Dennis with EDU 643, and I'm excited that we've made it through half of Module 4 here, concluding Week 7, and this project has been very exciting. I'm not a classroom teacher anymore, so my involvement in this program and in this class in particular is different than most. I was a very bad classroom teacher. Yeah, just not everybody's called to do it, and I had to learn by trying. And so this project is helping me to do what I have been wanting to do for many years, which is to design and develop and eventually market resources that can help students learn. So with that much said, this project is called the Study Helper. It's actually a website that my wife and I wanted to start. We got the domain through Yahoo 5 years ago, and it lay dormant as a project. And now, in 2018, since 2013, after 5 years, it's finally starting to evolve into something, to develop into something. So I'm very excited. So what I chose to do for the studyhelper.com is to design a mini unit, really, with a bunch of lesson activities. And the purpose here is to help students in first grade to construct sentences and passages from the basic building blocks of the English language, which is the phonics, the phonemes, the letter sounds, the digraphs, and to work them from the sounds to the words, to the phrases, to the sentences. And we'll take a look at my goal and the objectives here in a moment. What else do I want to say? I guess that's it for this intro. Thank you. Okay, in terms of my goal, related of course to assessment and connecting with the learning map, which I will be addressing later, I just simply want to say that the entry skills are the alphabet sounds, phonemic awareness, phonemes, and so on. And then it builds up from the digraphs and blended sounds to words, to phrases, and then sentences and passages with comprehension. So as I get into the standards and objectives, I want to make clear that I am wanting 80% of students who utilize the Study Helper in this particular language arts unit to be able to demonstrate the ability to read textual content with correct pronunciation, fluency, and comprehension. And of course, my goal is that the singing will bring joy to the learning experience, will help them to learn the sounds and so on, but will also help them to develop comprehension as they learn how to read. So there's kind of a balance here between having the joy and the fun with singing, but also the discipline of learning English. So I hope that at a bare minimum this will serve as a resource to help students. Certainly this can't replace a classroom teacher, so to speak. Anyhow, in terms of the Common Core State Standards, we have the ability to, as I've mentioned, demonstrate understanding of spoken words, syllables and sounds, phonemes, as well as consonant blends. So basically digraphs and blends. To know and apply grade level phonics and word analysis skills in decoding words. So I want them to be able to actually add the letter C and the letter H, k plus h equals ch, to actual, sing or say those kind of, I guess you'd say, letter sentences, like a mathematical concept, to add them together. And then obviously that works towards decoding in general. To know the spelling, sound correspondences for common consonant digraphs, to decode two-syllable words following basic patterns by breaking the words into syllables, to recognize and read grade appropriate irregularly spelled words, and then finally, as I mentioned, to read with sufficient accuracy and fluency to support comprehension. And I do admit, and I'm sure I'll get to this later, that that doesn't mean what I've created has perfectly hit every one of these, but I think I'm definitely in the ballpark. In terms of Addy, I want to be as concise as possible with analysis. I've had years of experience in the classroom in different contexts, full-time, a lot of substitute teaching, different things in education, and just my knowledge of the need for remediation, that there are, statistics show us there's a lot of students, particularly for what I'm doing with first graders, who struggle with reading, and so I know the need is there. And so in terms of the analysis, I believe that this idea of mine, if you will, while it's not necessarily a new idea, people have used music, to teach, but I'm trying to pioneer something new here. I think that it will be fruitful. Also, with analysis, in terms of the delivery options, I really wanted to make this a tutorial, self-paced, generally a one-to-one experience with a personal computer or an iPad or something with the student, just practicing their language arts skills. But it could also be used in a small group or whole group context as well. But it's definitely a tutorial-based product that I'm creating here. That's self-paced. I think that's important as far as how it will be delivered on demand. With regard to design and development, in terms of specific assessments, I embedded the quizzes with multiple choice, true and false. I would like to eventually develop something where I have a PDF where it can be printed out and a student can follow and do certain things to demonstrate learning, what they've learned in terms of like short responses and so on. And they can also even sing, so to speak, for their teacher and their parents. But for now, for the purposes of this class, EDU 643, basically I was using multiple choice, true and false. I wanted to be able to check the understanding for the letter sounds and how the letter sounds work to build words, and then obviously phrases and sentences and passages. And then from those passages, or those sentences that are created, I wanted them also, as they're singing and reading, to be able to have comprehension. So some of the way I designed this in terms of the assessments was so that the students could show they were comprehending what they were even reading and singing about. In terms of implementation, in connection with design and development, I did create what I call a 4-step process as a way to guide students through this tutorial process. So basically, I read, they listen, then they read, and then they stop and they listen again as I sing, and then finally they go ahead and they sing. So that's the 4-step process. In terms of, let me see, what else did I want to say? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that this site was functioning coherently in terms of how I designed everything, the flow of the navigation buttons and the order of the lessons and just the way it developed. I wanted it to be logical. So in terms of implementation and evaluation, this has been very helpful for me. I mean, I'm looking to get more feedback from my classmates as we continue with Module 4 into Week 8. Our professor Jessica has already given me a ton of help, and that's really important in terms of what I was saying, the logical flow of this resource, that it actually is something the students, the first graders, can use, and that they understand how it is to be used. And so that's something I'm working on in terms of, I have some audio boxes that guides them through on the home page of the unit with all the lesson activities. They can read and also listen to these audio little recordings that give them a little guidance. So yes, what can I say? I've got so much to learn, but this has been helpful. Okay, this project, the Study Helper, as far as the demonstration, I want to have two perspectives for sharing with you what this is. First will be some guest students, actually our children, so they're going to demonstrate a little bit here. And then also I created a TSH tutorial on the website for the students. But I want to add, if I didn't mention this already, that I do believe, because this is first grade, that I want to create this in a way where the teachers and the parents can also help the children to learn how to use it. So the TSH tutorial is basically for the students, but for the adults to help them to know how to use this resource. Okay, it's important for me to make mention of the fact that I have so much to learn. So all of this is an experiment, right? I mean, that's really what life is. We grow from experiences, excuse me. We grow from experiences. In terms of instructional design, this project, clearly it's an experimentation, right? And so I'm going to let you see some things with some students, our children, who will show you the fact that it's a process. I have to learn how to do this well, and I'm not suggesting that I've mastered this because I haven't, but I know I'm onto something, and I believe in time I can develop some really cool resources. So let's start off with this student here. He just finished 2nd grade, so he's in the area of 1st grade. He was in a mixed classroom, a split with 1st and 2nd. He just finished. So say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so stand next to me right here, and we'll just practice what this is like. Let's start off with, which one were we going to do? I think we'll start off with the PH. Okay, we'll take these 2 letters, PH. Say, p, 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 p. Okay, now let's do H. Yeah, that's kind of tricky, I know. I want to interject that when I was singing in his classroom recently in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, his teacher let me come in, and she had mentioned, obviously I have to be careful because when you're doing the entry skill, in this case just doing the phonics, the phonemes, just the alphabet sounds, that with H you don't really want to say huh, because that's like HU, that's a blend, whereas the actual phoneme is huh. And it's very hard to sing those, by the way, so I'm working on this. But now let's put those together for PH. Say P plus equals
P equals.
Very good. So it makes the F sound, PH. So let's practice just the word here, photo. Photo, 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 photo. Photo, 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 photo. Very good. And then let's take a phrase here. The big photo. Say. Yes, a big photo. And then we'll make it into a sentence. We'll say your name's Jonathan. So Jonathan takes a big photo. Sing.
Jonathan takes a big photo.
Yes. Okay, thanks for helping. Okay, so there's a lot to work with here, and clearly when I did go into his classroom recently, when you have a group of 20 1st and 2nd graders, for example, many of them do a good job at doing what you're asking, and they're putting their heart into it, and it's great. So I think there's a lot of potential is what I'm saying, but it's not easy. For me as the instructor, as the teacher, but also for the students. And so that's really my goal, is to perfect this, because like I said, there's something to this, but I'm not quite clear on how it's going to play out in the months and years ahead. But this project for EDU 643 has certainly put me on the right path. I also want to share another example with you here. Try this. T, 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 t.
Ta 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 ta.
T plus equals.
T plus equals.
Right. So of course you have to practice that, but that's the digraph, TH. And so then what we would do is we would build up in these lessons with the sounds to the words. So say earth, 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 earth.
Earth, 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 earth.
Earth, 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 earth.
Earth, 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 earth.
Say the earth.
The earth.
Okay, say we live on the earth.
We live on the earth.
Okay, thank you for helping. Open up your internet browser and go to thestudyhelper.com. And then when you get there, on the home page, you want to scroll down to the student portal. Click on Grade 1 Language Arts, because that's what we're working with now to help Grade 1 students learn language arts. And you'll come to this home page. What you'll want to do is read what it says. You can also listen, as the audio will welcome the students. Language Arts homepage. And you can hear Teacher DJ, that's me, reading to each student, explaining what this unit and what the lessons are going to be like. Now, when you come here, you'll see that there are stars with numbers. For every unit, this tells the student how many tasks they will have to complete for the unit. In this case, there are 7 tasks. The first task is the pre-quiz. You can click on the pre-quiz, and the student will have to put in their name and their email address and click Start. Then they can take the pre-quiz. After the pre-quiz, they can click on View Next Video Lesson, and that'll take them to watch the first lesson in the unit. Now, another way to get back to the home page for the Language Arts unit is to click here, and you can go to each lesson in the unit, each activity, each task, by clicking these tabs right here to the right. So take pre-quiz now, watch video now, and this goes through each task, and each task from 2 to 6 for this unit is a lesson. And of course the final task is the post-quiz. You just click right on there, and the same thing as the pre-quiz, you just put in your name, the student puts in their email address as well, they click Start, and they can take the quiz and they can get results at the end of the quiz. It'll tell them their grade so they can show it to their teacher and or their parents or guardians. But of course you can always click the home page for the website and go back to the student portal and click on Grade 1 Language Arts for the home page for this unit and for other units that will be coming soon. And as you go through, you can always click on, after the student watches the video, you can click on View Next Lesson, and it'll take you right to the next lesson. Or you can go back to the home page for this particular unit, and the student can click individually on these tabs, on these buttons here. Of course, there's information for each task as far as the audio boxes. So the task is introduced for each task. Task number 5 is lesson 4, and it will tell the student a little bit of information about what they can expect. So that should do it for this tutorial. Of course, you can see the Common Core State Standards for the unit and the sources used to develop this learning resource. Okay, I hope that helps. Thank you. Okay, I want to bring this to a close in the next couple minutes if I can in terms of my plans to implement this. Basically, I want to market this product. I know it's going to take time. I'm going to have to collaborate with many people. This has been a huge experience for me. Our professor Jessica has been amazing, and I'm looking forward to getting more support, like I've said, from my classmates as we wrap up EDU 643. But moving forward, I'm going to have to continue to learn and grow and learn how to do this. But I do know I want to market this at some point, but I'm going to have to develop it first. And that's what this class is all about, giving me the tools to do that. In terms of results and peer evaluations, I'm still waiting to get some of those. I have had some support from Jessica at this point as we conclude the first half of Module 4 in Week 7. But basically what I was helped with was to see that this can't just be a bunch of media. It has to be tutorial based. There has to be this presence of an instructor. So I was able to create what I mentioned, those audio boxes and other text throughout that really gives some instruction. And so yes, that's the key. I also have the 1, 2, 3 little system counting within the 4-step process, so the student knows, okay, 1, 2, 3, go, and then they repeat and they do something, either reading or singing. In terms of changes to the learning map, I don't know that there was so much any major changes. Obviously, I think I put more effort into the learning map and the proposal than I was able. I mean, what I'm trying to say is I might not have covered everything I intended to, but I covered the most important aspects of what I intended to do. But I think moving forward beyond EDU 643, I'm going to have to really look at the learning map and really look at the bigger picture of what I'm trying to achieve, and then what I want students to be assessed on, and then to really develop these resources, these units with the lesson activities. So I don't know, I'm still learning, that's all I can say. The learning map was helpful, it's going to evolve in the future, but for the purposes of this assignment, for this presentation, for this project, I think that the learning map was incredibly helpful. But I will say in closing, I just want to really focus in on first grade. I can't compete with big $1 million companies, textbook companies that can do K-12 materials and exhaust them. So I'm just going to focus on grade 1, language arts, and really look at the big picture of what they're going to be assessed on, and then create resources that connect singing with learning language arts. So that's my goal. Thank you.